is up, everyone? We are back. Today I'm going to be making us some breakfast burritos with a bunch of eggs that I purchased for the purpose of breakfast burritos. But that was a bit of a long intro. Hi everyone, my name is Bree. Welcome to Simply a Breeze, and I am here to help teach you and give you the motivation and encourage you to tackle any sort of life skill that you've been waiting or wanting to learn. And today the predominant skill that we're going to be focusing on is cooking and food preservation. So if you're ready to follow along and join me, we're about to get started. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is, because Thanksgiving is on Thursday, today is Tuesday when I'm recording this, I am actually going to reserve some of these eggs to the side. I'm responsible for the deviled eggs on Thursday, so I'm going to go ahead and put about 21 eggs to the side. Hopefully that leaves me with enough to make breakfast burritos. If I need to adjust, I will, but I just want to make sure that I have enough for deviled eggs. I have quite a big family, and there's going to be, let me see, my brother's family makes 4, my other brother's family makes 3, and there's my sister's that's 8, my parents that's 10, me and my fiance. There's going to be at least 12 people there, so we got a lot of mouths to feed. So I prefer to get my eggs at Costco because I can get 5 dozen organic, cage-free eggs for, I think it's now $15. It used to be like 11 or 12. 15 is still a fair price for the type of quality egg that I get. So I just like to buy it in bulk because then I can make a big batch of breakfast burritos and still have plenty of eggs. We can't have chickens where we're at right now, so this is what I've found. I'm looking for a different potential option for locally grown and locally sourced eggs. But until then, I'm just going to shop at Costco. Let's see. Okay, so I have 30 eggs. Should be more than enough for breakfast burritos. So I'm going to go ahead and get these guys back into the fridge. And we're going to start getting these guys cracked and scrambled on up, and I'll show you the rest of the ingredients that are going to go into our breakfast burritos. Okay, I am going to go get this block of cheese shredded in my food processor. This is going to be the cheese for our breakfast burritos. If any of you are wondering, Tillamook is a really awesome cheese, but I can get it at King Soopers. I can get a 2.5 pound block of cheese from King Soopers from Costco, I think for like $11. And my local King Soopers sells a 1 pound block for $9. So I get it at Costco when I'm there, and then I can have cheese in bulk. I'll just go ahead and keep it like this until I'm ready to use it. I'll shred the whole thing, and then all the excess cheese I will go ahead and chuck in the freezer. Shredded cheese freezes really well and it thaws really well. So pro tip, if you want to save on cheese, if you're like us and you absolutely love cheese and you like good quality cheese, that's my tip for getting cheese at a good price. Next, we are gonna do, I made green chili a while back and discovered that the chilies I bought were incredibly hot, so then I had to portion it out. So this is some leftover green chili that's incredibly hot, made out of ground beef. And then I also am going to add some goose breakfast sausage to the mix as well. So this is gonna be a nice hearty breakfast burrito for us. So those are the meats going into our egg scramble, and then I think that's about all that I'm going to add between the eggs and the 2 different proteins and the cheese. These are gonna be some very protein heavy, hearty breakfast burritos for mornings when we're going duck hunting, camping, ice fishing, adventures like that. We've got breakfast burritos ready to go, and it keeps us from hitting McDonald's or something like that in the morning. So it's saving us money, and we're eating much healthier because I know where all of this came from. And lastly, we've got all of our tortillas. This brand is actually local to Colorado, I believe. I don't know where I saw that. Maybe don't hold me to it, but I swear this brand is a Colorado local brand. I also get it at Costco because I get 3 10-packs, and that's going to go a long way for us as well, and it's much more cost effective, and I like the ingredients in these. correction. Oh, well, these have soy, so we may stop buying these. But the point is, it's Colorado, and we're supporting local one way or another. And I keep a compost bucket underneath my sink. That way I can compost for my garden. So I learned how to go ahead and freeze and make my own breakfast burritos when I was in college. I worked a job, and I also, because I worked, I arranged all of my classes to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays generally, or sometimes they were Mondays and Wednesdays. But I very much tried to align classes that were on 2 specific days, so that way I could work the other 5 days of the week if possible. But because I made all of my classes on 2 specific days, I was at school from about 8-9 o'clock to about 4. And I would also go to the rec center because it was included in tuition. So I could go to the rec center and work out before I went to school. So that's what I did, is I would get up, go to school. I'd be at the gym by 6. I'd go to the gym, I'd shower, and then I'd get ready for the day at the gym. And then I would be starving by the time I started my first class at about 8:30. So I learned pretty quickly that it got pretty expensive to try and eat at the local cafe every other morning, and realized that maybe if I found a way to freeze food, I would have stuff on hand. Well, that's what I did. I experimented with breakfast burritos, and I think all I did were eggs and like bacon or just breakfast sausage the first couple times, and it ended up working out beautifully. So some days I would do oatmeal, some days I would do breakfast burritos, and I also made myself breakfast sandwiches. Like I tried to make a mock egg McMuffin. And that worked out really, really well, and it cut down my cost and spending significantly. So that is how I got started preserving, that's how I got started making breakfast. Wow, I cannot talk today, guys. I'm doing too many things at once. So I started freezing ahead meals as a way for me to save money, but also keep myself fed while I was in college. So if there are any of you who just started college and you're learning that life is pretty expensive living on your own, I highly suggest this tip because it made a significant difference in my spending and my financial situation, and I spent far less on food not eating at home. My fiance also really likes these breakfast burritos, so that's also a bonus. He finds it really convenient. He's not a huge breakfast person, but when we get up super early in the morning, the hunger just kicks in differently, so it's really nice to just grab a breakfast burrito from the freezer. You can cook them from frozen, or you can pull them out the night before, so they're thawed out. Both ways, they turn out really, really well. All right, we have 30 eggs ready to go. Next, I'm going to go ahead and get my stovetop on, so that way I can start browning up the goose breakfast sausage. Technically, this green chili is already cooked, so it just needs to be reheated. So we're going to put the goose breakfast sausage. We're going to put the goose breakfast sausage on first, so we can get it all cooked up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Get my stove on about medium heat. my goose sausage open. Okay, and while I'm waiting for the pan to heat up, and then while the meat is browning, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna shred our cheese so that way that's ready to go once it's all done. Okay, so I have my shredding attachment on my food processor. And you don't need a food processor to shred your cheese. I have just found that when I have that much cheese, it's much easier to use the food processor instead of a manual cheese grater. Okay. Let me get out my cutting board and just a knife. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the cheese into chunks that my food processor can handle. And the reason I don't buy pre-shredded cheese and I'm doing blocks of cheese is because the pre-shredded cheese has an like caking agent put on it, and it affects the way that the cheese melts. And I find that I like the taste and quality of just a pure block of cheese that I shred at home versus the pre-shredded stuff in the grocery store. That's just my personal preference, but I also find it is cheaper per, I think, ounce to also get the block of cheese versus the pre-shredded cheese because you're paying a little extra for that convenience that it's already shredded. So it's just my personal preference and money saving tip. Awesome. This pan should be nice and warm now. I'm gonna add just I shouldn't need to add grease because this was cut with pork, so I shouldn't have to add grease to it. I'm just gonna see if I can get it to separate from the sides. And this is homegrown, not homegrown, oh my goodness. This is homemade goose breakfast sausage from goose that we hunted last waterfowl and upland bird season. And so we're trying to go through it because waterfowl and goose season have opened up here in Colorado, and our freezer is about to be full of goose and duck once again, which we're pretty excited for because that also saves us on meat costs. Hi, buddy. We should probably move. And I've learned that the trick to stainless steel is just to let it sit and cook and brown. It'll actually stop sticking. That's what I've been told anyways. We're gonna test the theory today. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my cheese shredded. I'm just gonna stick blocks in there, and I'm gonna put it on high. Go. And I turned the heat down on this as well. So we're just gonna let this sit at a cooler temperature for just a little bit and kind of deglaze this pan until we're ready to add in the eggs. I wanna get this cheese shredded before I add the eggs in real quick. If you're a Colorado local, I get my green chilies from Pueblo. I don't do New Mexico hatch green chilies. I do Pueblo green chilies, and they are just awesome. I've gone there for the last couple of years, and the quality is amazing. Plus, I am supporting a small local business, which makes me feel good, and it helps that business to thrive. And then, now that we've got our cheese done, I'm going to set it over here to the side. Move that over there. I'm going to throw this away, and then we're going to whisk up our eggs real quick before we throw it into this mixture. And I'm just going to break all of the yolks, or at least I'm going to try to. And honestly, I could throw this into the blender if I wanted to. That probably would have been smarter, because then I wouldn't have had to dirty a whisk. But we're here now. Choices were made. I'm going to go ahead and just add our eggs to this mixture. And now I'm going to go ahead and season my food. So we're going to add salt. This is probably, I don't know, 1.5, 2 teaspoons worth. I'm going to add some pepper. And you can season this however you want, right? You don't have to go with these specific seasonings, but these are just a basic seasoning. Salt, pepper. I just like to add garlic to my eggs. We like garlic in this house. So I am going to go ahead and just add a little bit of garlic. The green chili is also seasoned in here, so it's not like we have to completely season a very bland food. And the breakfast sausage also has seasoning, so that will help. Okay, and now I'm going to try and stir up all the seasonings because the egg is cooking on the bottom. And then you got to mix it up so the rest of the egg can cook through and you're not just burning what's on the bottom, which is why I'm using a flat end spoon. It's not really a spoon, but I'm using a flat object, that way I can scrape the bottom off so that raw egg can touch the hot surface. And the trick to making sure that your breakfast burritos turn out nice, I want to say moist because they can turn out on the drier side, is you almost want to stop the cooking process right before they're completely done. That way when you put them in the microwave to reheat, you're not drying the burrito out, if that makes sense. I made that mistake for a long time, and it was a good burrito, but it was a drier burrito. And as soon as I started to stop the cooking process, as it was just about to finish cooking, my burrito quality turned out much, much better going forward. So that's a little tip that I've learned. Okay. And while this is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get these dishes taken care of and put these curds into a container so that way we can snack on them later. The great thing about breakfast burritos is you can put whatever you want in there. If you only want eggs, just do eggs. You want eggs and onion, you can do eggs and onion. Like, you can tailor this food to whatever you want. And it doesn't require a whole lot of work on your part other than stirring it and cracking all those eggs. Like, this whole process is a really easy process. And I'm no gourmet chef, and I did this when I was still trying to figure out regular cooking. So this process anybody can do, and it'll save you so much money instead of going to the Starbucks or going to McDonald's, and it's so much healthier for you as well. So I highly encourage you, if you are just now starting out, if you go to school full-time, or you just work weird hours, or you have to get up really early and breakfast is a meal that you absolutely love. Breakfast for me is, it's slowed down a little, but breakfast used to be a non-negotiable for me. I always had to have breakfast. And now that I'm getting a little older and my metabolism's slowing down, I don't immediately want breakfast when I wake up. But I do actually prefer to have a breakfast food when I do eat for the first time in the day. Okay, so now, here I'm going to get the camera, I'm going to show you what my eggs look like. I'm about to cut this off. So here are our eggs. I don't know how clear it's showing up for you, but there's a little bit of like a glisten to them. They look a little like wet still. They don't look dry and cakey. Sorry, I'm trying to keep you guys still. I am going to stop the cooking process now because I don't want my eggs to get any more dried out. I want them to keep this moisture level. That way, when I go to make them up for breakfast and just pop them in the microwave, they're not a dry burrito. So this guy is good, which makes me feel really good. And if I go ahead and just let this sit for a minute, all of the stuff that's caked on the bottom, the moisture will get trapped in there and it'll release from the pan for the most part. It doesn't always happen. Okay, so we're gonna let that sit. And I believe we're at least, we did 30 eggs. So we'll get about 2 eggs per burrito. So we're probably gonna get somewhere around 15 burritos from this. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the tortillas laid out with some cheese put on them. Okay, so this thing of tortillas I've already opened and I've already cleaned this counter off in preparation for this. So the cat has not been on this counter. We're just gonna lay out our tortillas so I can get a bit of an assembly line type of thing going. There's 10 tortillas per package, and I'm actually going to save these. This will keep me from having to use a Ziploc bag, so I'll show you how I'm going to do this. So move this over here. So we got 14 tortillas all laid out, ready for us to start assembling. I'm going to take our freshly shredded cheese. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the center. So that way the eggs melt it just a little bit as they hit. And you can use whatever cheese you want. We chose cheddar. Again, this is highly customizable. You can put whatever you want in these burritos. This is just how we prefer it. And honestly, half the time it's whatever I have on hand. If I had a diced up onion, I would have thrown the diced up onion in here. I don't have a diced up onion, so I'm not gonna add it. And if I didn't add green chili to this, if it was just like bacon or ham, I would if I didn't add green chili to the egg mixture already, I could go ahead and add some salsa or some Cholula to this as well. So whatever hot sauce that's fancy, you can pre-make your burritos with the hot sauce already in it. I'm gonna go ahead and get the 1 cup measuring cup out. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead, bring the egg mixture over, and I'm going to fill about a cup. I'm gonna go ahead and break some of these chunks apart real quick. No, sir. I know what you're thinking. Sorry, my cat likes tortillas. He likes bread. He likes tortillas. So now, what I'm gonna do, no, go, sir. Go. So I'm gonna fill probably just shy of a cup my burritos. Okay, go. I think a cup might be too much. You can totally get one more because some of these are way overfilled. We're gonna open up another package. And I honestly think I can probably get 2 more. So go ahead, put my tortillas over here, grab my cheese. I am going to so now all I'm going to do is curl in, and we have a burrito. I'm going to do this for all of them, and then I'm going to let them completely cool before I package them up and put them in the freezer. And I'll show you what that process looks like once the burritos have cooled down. Gate! No, sir! Yay! As you can tell, he's a little feisty when he wants to be. Okay. I'm going to put all of these onto a cutting board because I need to let them cool somewhere my cat can't get to them. So I have to store them in the microwave to cool down. That is the life of owning a cat. If any of you have a cat, you know the struggle that if you leave something out, he'll find it. He'll get into it. The other day, I left a hot dish on the stove, okay? It had, I cooked pork chops, a hot dish with oil, and the juices from the pork chops were in the dish. And there was about like ½ an inch of liquid once the pork chops came out, but it was incredibly hot. And he's never messed with it before. Well, by the time I caught him on the counter, all of it was gone. Okay, and the dish was this big, with that much oil in it. He ate it all. Thankfully, his tummy was okay, and it did not come back up. So there was no mess to clean afterwards, but the struggle of owning a cat. I do know people whose dogs jump on their counter too, so I'm not saying it's only a cat problem, but I have a cat. Okay. All right, so now for our breakfast burritos, I'm just going to pull out a little bit of saran wrap. For the burrito. And wrap. That's all there is to it. And the reason I wrap the burritos in saran wrap, I'm going to put them in these bags over here, but I wrap the burritos in saran wrap because as they freeze, they'll stick together, and then it'll be really difficult to grab yourself a burrito in the morning without grabbing 3 other ones in the process, and you can tear the tortilla. And so I use this much saran wrap generally only when I'm making burritos, because I don't currently have another alternative that's cost effective at this present moment in time. So we try to be conscientious of the plastic that we use. Generally, I reuse my plastic bags, like the bag that all the tortillas came in. We're gonna reuse those, so they serve more than one purpose. And then the food saver bags that I just put our chicken into, I do generally rewash my food saver bags. So we do our best here to try and reduce our waste, just because we do acknowledge that a lot of our waste just ends up everywhere. That's reality. But there are times you just can't get away from plastic, especially in this type of scenario. Okay. So now we've got the Ziploc bags, and I think I can generally get about 8 or 9 burritos per bag. I can fit 10 burritos in here. Look at that. So then I repurpose the tortilla bag and put the burritos in there. And we're gonna do the same thing here. And that is how I package up our breakfast burritos, and they're individually wrapped and they're set to go for whenever we want a breakfast burrito to hit the road. So I hope you greatly enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes, and I can't wait to tell you what's going on. So thank you for being here, and let me know if you make your own breakfast burritos or convenience meals. But I will see you next time. Bye.